Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a painting tutorial. I don't know if you can see this, of the Jetfighter, the Razorwing Jetfighter from the Dark Elder. So here you see. So I'm going to explain this fourth part of the tutorial. That is being a long journey. This tutorial, I will explain how I do the main body of the plane. So I will do these parts, and I will be ready to start doing more assembly. As you can see, I didn't glue this part to the bottom because I want to avoid to dirt this, so I keep it apart and I will paint this before assembling. So just what I did as a preparation, and I want to explain you. I will take the camera because it's going to be easier for me to share what I want to share. So as you can see, I paint the all these parts with a part of doing the black priming. I repaint them using a very thin Abaddon black. So I did a second layer with a very thin Abaddon black, and then the next thing that I did is I draw, because I want to do some freehand. I did with a pencil, and this is looking very silvery because it's on top of black. But with a pencil, I draw what I want to paint in red. So I did all these patterns and all these things with a pencil. Yeah, I think I need this to help me to guide what to paint. I also paint here something that I will do now with red. So this is the preparation I do, and now I will start in front of you doing the freehand. So the first thing that I will do, I will use scab red, and I will start applying a thin layer of scab red. So one way for me to know, I will start, for example, from here at the front. I will first follow the shape that I did with my pencil, sorry. Okay, to know the limits. So for example, here I will go like that, and then you want to paint, and this is going to be tricky in the flatter areas because you want to avoid to see the strokes. So we will need most likely 2 to 3 layers in that areas to have a solid red. So I'm going to play. As you see, the paint is very thin. When you do freehand, I think it's better to have thinner paint, especially when you're painting elder. You want to avoid any irregularity. So again, you want to thin everything a lot. So I will play for the big areas. I will take a bigger brush to be sure that I do a thin job and I don't see the strokes, or the strokes are not much visible. So be aware that I don't use any airbrush, so I do everything with the standard brush. So for example, here I will go like that. So you see, and I will not. So we want a thin layer, but don't be super concerned if it's not fully uniform. You want to avoid to cause irregularities. So go. For example, this one I will first follow this. This and this. Okay, and then you go, and I will paint all these things as well on the same color, and later on I will think if I don't want now to take this think I will paint them following the same color than the rest of the armor. I will not do I will not paint them as gems because there are too many and will look very well that they are gems. So this is, you can see the parts that are dry. I already can do now the second layer, and the color is much solid. But it's important that we work to have a very thin layer with the minimum regularities as possible. So yeah, this can be a lot of time consuming, but I hope the result is deserved. It's worth it to hope it's worth it to invest. This is going to be one of the most ambitious projects that I did on freehand. There's another thing that it's very tricky when you start having when you have irregularities. Okay, you see, this is like that. So this is what you want to do. And again, it's better to do 2, 3, 4 layers, the layers that are needed, but be thin. So don't apply too much. So there is one part here. For example, I will do this part here, and then I will not do all the freehand in camera, of course, because this will be a lot of time, but I just want to do enough that you can see how I handle the different parts. And what is helping a lot is that you draw before what you want to paint, because in that way you have overview. I know that everything fits because I did it with my pencil. And I always try to do the same. First I paint all the perimeter of what I want to paint, and then I fill the shape. Here the shape is much more complicated, as you can see. So again, I will do a little bit here, and then I will do the rest off camera. So first, as I say, try to follow what I did with the pencil. Okay. Here, for example, this is one thing that you need to avoid, and that's what's happening here. There was too much paint accumulated in one part and was creating like a thick spot. So if you see that this is occurring, take a little bit of water and spread this paint over the surface to avoid this spot, because it's going to be very difficult then to correct. So yeah, you see, and no, we'll not do super defined, well defined it, but later on we are going to apply other reds, and we are going to play with black and grays to make this more sharp and more visible. So I will keep doing that, filling all the shapes with the scab red. You see here, especially when the light touch, you see that it's not flat. I apply some water. It's better to illuminate before than later. Okay, so I will keep doing that, and I will be back once I applied all the red and I fill all the shapes with scab red. I have this here. I also have a very little here at the bottom. On the bottom here, yeah. And on this part. Okay, here I did a little bit to see how it was looking like. This was more my test. So I will do all the parts, and I will be back once I applied the scab red in all these parts. So I did the first. I applied scab red. I did 2 to 3 layers depending on the zone with the scab red, and now I will start giving a little bit of volume, and I will start with Mephiston red, and I will follow the different borders with Mephiston red. So what I will do is, and this will give much volume, for example. I hope you can see this on camera. So I will, and here is again, if it's, we have to be sure that it's thin. This was too thick. So we will follow the borders with Mephiston red. Okay, and in that way it will look much sharp, the finishing. So this is going to be again time consuming, but will make the paint more visible. And here what is key is to have the right balance on the thickness of the paint, so not too thin, because then you can lose the control, but avoid also that is extremely thicker. Okay, as you see, this can be quite a tedious work. And what this will do, what I say is, will give much definition to the red, but making the paint. And here, this is the way to do. You do to do sharp finishing. So you start from here and you go up and then let it fade out. Okay. See, so see the difference from one side and the other. I hope you can see this on camera. It's difficult with the light. We'll do a little bit more, and I will do a better close-up with the camera. One thing we need to avoid sometimes are these small particles on the paint. If you see some of them, try to remove it. Okay. I will do a little bit here to show. So this also will help to eliminate what we see that is visible is still the lines that I did with the pencil. So we will try to eliminate also this. So you can see the idea. I will not do, of course, all the red, but this is the idea. Okay, so I will do this here. You can see I also paint this part, and I did the bottom. One thing that is important is I will need to see if this is matching. So it's important that you test that the lines are matching when you assemble everything together, especially here. So I will keep working that. I will keep doing this Mephiston red at the border of all the red lines, and I will be back once this is done. Okay, this is how it's looking like now that I did the lining with red. So the paint work is much more defined. So you see, this is, let's see if I can have an image of the fruit. So this is how it's looking like. Then I have here the other part. Okay, try to have it on camera. This is how it's looking like from the top. So next step that I will do is I will go back with what's called this black and I will keep now this, will take from red, and I will use black. I will take also black, and I will start cleaning up all the pencil is still visible in some areas, so now it's time to remove all this. I will not do with the rubber because you damage the paint, so what I will do is I will paint on top. So for example here I will paint inside, and this is what I keep the red with me, all the reds, because now what I will do is I will clean and I will correct all the defects and all the things that I can do on that maybe I did in the previous layer. For example, one thing that is important to do now is to go in each of these ones and make this line of black really. To make it because what we want to achieve now is that the edges are sharp, and also this is easier. For example, here on the horn, if we want a sharp finishing, it's easier to do it with the black now. So you go with the black and you make it sharp. For example, this is very clear here that was not sharp enough, so you go with the black and I sharp it. And at the same time I will go next to all the red. So for example here I see that the work I did with the pencil is still visible, so I will go next to the red and clean up all the pencil that is still visible. As I said, doing this type of freehand on big surfaces with more or less elaborate pattern can be very time consuming. And I have to say that this, I think, is one of the most complex ones that I ever did, so it is expected that can be time consuming to do this. And a lot of having the paints in the right thickness, so not too thin, not too thick. If it's too thin, as I said before, you lose the control of the paint. If it's too thick, will not flow or will not be applied easily. You can see here I'm doing completely the black again, because I want to be sure that the black is uniform. I don't want to, you want to minimize the fact that you find a brighter aureole around the red because you just apply there. And in areas like this one that is small, this is the reason why I keep the red next to me, because in some parts more likely I will make a mistake. For example, mistakes that I did here, you can see this is going to be corrected also during this step. We'll be sure. And if I see in some areas that is not solid enough the red, I will apply a little bit more. Okay. Here, for example, I will do that, like that. So we are going to work with the red and the black to make the edges sharp, and to eliminate completely these brights that we have, because the pencil in some areas is still visible. So for example here I go very close to the red, I eliminate this, and then to avoid to see different brightness I will paint all this part with black. Okay, here for example is visible all next to the red, so I will go with the black. So I will keep doing that. Applying the black. Example, no, I just realized that for example these things here that I forgot to do to leave the black section before. So I will go with the black and I will do this. So. Okay. So I will keep doing that, and I will be back once this step is done to show you how it's looking like. So now I finalized the work of eliminate and to cover the work that I did with the pencil and to define well the red and making this sharper, all these things sharper. So this is done, and the next step that I will do is I will start highlighting the black, and to do that I will start with etching gray. So, and I will do edge highlighting. So what I will do is, for example here, I will follow the edge of the armor plate, or the edge of this section of, so I'm putting some water, and I will make quite a thick line because I want to do 3 levels of highlight. I will start first with etching gray, Then after that you will see that I will do downstone, and at the end I will finalize with administrator gray. So, but the first step is to follow all the different armor plates, the edges, with etching gray. I will do around these slots. Okay. So as you can see, and then here I will do we'll do the same here. So as you can see, I will follow all the different plates, and I will keep doing. So this is one part. The other part that I will do is I will make also the highlights on these things. I will not paint them like gems, I will just do quite a extreme highlight. What I will do here is you make something like that. It's too thin here. Okay. In all this, and you make it a little bit thick because I want so the line a little bit thick, like a smile. And I will do this in all the different protuberances that we have in the plane. Okay, so I will keep doing that on all them as well. In this smaller I will go thinner, and in the big ones I will do thicker. Okay, so I will keep doing that, and I will do the highlights on all the different plates, and yeah, I will stop here and I will show you once I have did all this. So as you can see now, I did all the highlights. I go all through the different parts, and I did the edge highlighting. So here you see another part. Okay, and I also did the back flap. So now I will go. We can use now downstone gray or stone vermin fur. I will use stone vermin fur, and I will do a second level of highlight. I will cover almost all the parts that I already highlight with this color. So I will use downstone gray better. So what I will do is I will do a second highlight, leaving the first highlight visible. So I will do thin lines next to the previous highlight. Okay. Again, this is a very time-consuming operation. What you can maybe don't need to do is, so this here you can be very thin, and you don't need to go to the last detail. So just to mark that is highlighted. But I think it's important that you do this quite careful with the second highlight, and it's really needed to make the detail pop up, especially when you go for such a dark color like as I'm doing here. So here as well. So as you can see, this is the idea. And then on these things that at the end I decided not to do like gems, I just decided to make them. So we are going to make follow the smile shape. Like that. Okay. So I will keep working on that. It's quite a tedious work, but yeah, I think these elder vehicles, this is also happening with the craft war elders, require a lot of highlighting and a lot of passion in doing all these highlights. What is important especially is that in these parts that are like this, how is it called, these edges that are very pronounced and these peaks, you should add a little bit more of highlight to make it clear, because later on is the areas where we are going to apply the third layer of highlights. The third layer of highlights will not go on all the edges. On the when we are going to apply, it's called the administrating gray, that is the lighter gray. We are going to focus on the most exterior highlights, the most prominent. For example, here we are going to hit with the lighter gray. So you can see it can be quite a tedious work, but I think it's going to give a very nice result. I don't know if in camera you can see this visible. So I moved the camera just to show one side and the other. You will see that here and this side how the new highlight is helping to pop up more the edge. We are going to keep, I'm going to keep working on that, doing the same as I did here. So 2 layers of highlight, leave a little bit visible the previous layer, and here the work on this type of things. So I will keep doing that. The second edge highlight, and I will be back once it's done. I don't think you need to be in the camera. I will just do a little bit more to show how I do, and then we can go. I can stop. So as I said before, you go to the edge, and you need a lot of this needs practice and more precision on the brush. You need to follow the shape. You have to use the edge to help you, but you need good precision with the brush as well. So you see, I'm just following the edge. Again, it's important that the paint have the right dilution to help flow. If you see that the line is, if you find difficult to do the line, to move the brush and the line is cutting off, it means that the paint is too thick. If you see that the paint is spreading too fast, means that it's too thin. So you have to balance this as well. If you make a mistake like here, we are going to correct later on with black to make this edge more pronounced. So as you can see here, I'm also going to follow. Okay. It was too thick, and then you add a little bit of water to, and you have to have the right position with the brush. See, once you get the right position, so this is what I will be working, and I will be back once I did the same for all the different edges in the plane. So I did now the highlight with the second gray, and this is how it's looking like right now. Okay, here we have the other side, and I also did these parts. Okay, and the bottom. So in the next step, what I will do is, with Nun oil, I will apply Nun oil on these slots. Especially on the red parts. And on the red, at the end, I will not add more highlights on these plates in order to make the freehand to pop up. If I start adding here more highlights, I think I have the feeling that I will start losing the definition of the freehand. So I prefer just to shade the slots with Nun oil to ensure that I keep the definition of the armor plates. You can see you just have to touch the slot, and then with the Nun oil will go directly to, don't take too much. Okay. So you see now the slots are more visible, especially here on the front. Right? So that will be the step. I will check also here that, for example, here at the back, and this one here, and I will do this one here. And on the bottom, I don't think I'm covering any slot. The only thing I will do in the bottom, no, the bottom is okay, I will not do more. So now we are ready to go to the next highlights. Now that the last highlight that I will do on the black areas, I'm going to use Administratum Grey. That is the lighter one. I will start with that part that I did not apply any, I didn't apply nude oil. So, and in that case, for example, here, what I will do is I will apply just on the middle a little bit more, and I will do like a dot on the other side. So here in the middle, a little bit more, and a small dot on the other side. And here I will do the same, a little bit more. And a small dot on the other side. And I don't think in that part I will only apply a little bit. So here I will go only to the most extreme parts. So I will do a little bit here. And here. Okay, and then at the back I will go to this part here, for example. Here. Here. And then I will follow something like that. And I will also highlight these small things. Let's something like that. Okay, so the bottom will be done like that. And now if we go to the big part, I will do the same. So you apply these highlights on the most extreme edges. For example, this one. I will go there, I will start from here, and I will reduce the pressure to make this color to fade out. Same here. For example, this one as well. Little bit like that. Okay. We do this peak here. Something like that. This is how I will do. and then for all. So you see the difference now between this side, this side and that side. So I will keep doing that. So just highlighting this more extreme part on the wing, for example. Okay, and then here at the back I will do all these peaks. Okay, and here at the back I will do this most extreme one. So this is how we look like, and then as I did on the other part, I will highlight here at the middle. I will do a lot. Here as well too. So that's this is what I show in camera, so you get the idea. This one, for example, is the mistake. I applied too much. If you see that you have applied too much, go back to downstone gray and smooth the transition. So for example here that I put too much, or you can even use stone vermin fur. No, sorry, not stone vermin fur, etching gray. Then you remove the transition. So I will keep working on that. I will highlight with administrator gray only the most extreme and exterior edges, and I will be back once this is done. So the highlight now with the light gray, administrator gray, is done. So you see now this is how it's looking like at this moment. This is stage. Here we have this part, and we also have this part. Okay, one thing that I didn't explain before, don't forget to do these things here, the edges. It's going to be difficult to focus, but I was forgetting to do, for example, this part here. So now work on the black is done at this moment. I will leave it here. I will work a little bit more on highlighting the red, and here I want to be careful not to highlight too much, because I don't want to I will say dilute or to make less visible the work we did on the freehand. So I will just highlight the this type of edges. And here what I will do is I will go quite extreme as well. I'm using now Wild Rider red that is quite orangey. Okay, and I will use it especially on the edge here at the front. I will not highlight these edges inside. I will just highlight the edges, these exterior edges, and especially these that are the most extreme ones. Okay, here as well. If you see that it's too much exaggerated or it's too much, the jump is too high, or the color, the edge is too bright compared to the rest. Now we are going to use again Wasdaka red to smooth the transition, but first I want to do this type of edges. It's going to be mainly this edge that I want to paint. This is the front edge of the plane, and the other things that the other parts that I will also highlight more are these protuberances that I paint. I will paint the same method I did for black. So I will do this, I will keep doing the smile shape. Okay, and I will also paint the back. I don't think on the other parts we don't have anything we need to paint on the other parts. It's mainly on this here at the front that I will apply this orange. Okay. Sorry if I put my hand in front, it's quite difficult to avoid this. Of course, we want to avoid to go into the black part. Now I'm realizing that I forgot to highlight this part in black here. I will do later on, following the same process in the other parts. So this is it's looking like right now. Okay. It's just think that the transition is too sharp. Sorry. We can go back to Mephiston red and put this as intermediate color. We can add a little bit more here on this extreme. Okay, same at the bottom. Okay. Now the last step on the red. So you see now how it's looking like. Hope this can be captured in camera. Okay. So I will now use the oil as layer orange. And I will paint. I will do the same that I did with the lighter way. I will do the just a little touch on the extremity parts. And then on these things, here I will do a dot. I will do a dot. And highlight the most center part of this. Okay. And this will be the work on the orange. I hope you can see some better from this angle. The light is washing the work. I think here you can see it better. Okay. So this is how it's looking like right now. And now we are going to do some of the details. And to do the details, I will use Balthasar Gold first to do these small things here. I will do these rings in Balthasar Gold. I will do the other things in green. Here, this thing, I will do also in Balthasar Gold to match with, this is going to be the same color that I will use for the weapons and some other details. And if you have seen, my army use it in other parts as well. So it's going to be similar to the color that I use for the reactors. And here we have to be patient and play a uniform layer. I will just paint this part. I will not paint the most. This small thing, I will not paint it. I will leave it black. Okay. We'll let it dry before doing a second layer, because I see that it's not covering uniformly the black. No. Okay. You see, I will use just this clamp to keep it without touching. So then here on this part there are some like small lights or buttons, I don't know what they are. I will just apply a little bit of green to match with the Copic. Okay, we can put then, using first was Warpstone green and now it's Mood green from Citadel or from Games Workshop. Okay, this should be done. I will wait until this is dry to finalize this. Next step I will do is I will apply a wash of Aglax Airshade here to make it, so to create the shading. Okay, should be enough. And while this part is drying, I will, we can finalize here this part, almost finalize. I will glue now the Copic to this part. So we'll remove this part of the sprue that I use to hold this in position. I always check how I need to position this here. Like always to check that everything, that I understand well how this have to be assembled and I don't have a bad surprise at the end. So yeah, I have to see how this is assembled. This goes, no, it's in position. I always recommend you to test that you are doing right assembly if you can before assembling. So this is how it will look like once it's assembled. Of course I need to do these parts first before gluing the top and bottom together, and we need to put here the engine that I paint before. So yeah, I will glue now the Copic. So what is important here on the Copic is these parts here. So this goes inside of these parts here. So go from the back until you find the position, and it's not slide. This is not the position, and it's not sliding up and down. So let's take plastic glue. Plastic glue is working well even if we have paint there. So I put here, put some here, and I will put, we're going to put a little bit on the sides. Then we check, as we did before, that we place it correctly. and everything will assemble smooth. See, it's in position, so I mean that I put the copy in the right position. We keep it and we wait until this is dry. So this is, we see here that the wash is not fully dry, so I will wait until the wash is dry and then I will finalize this part, and we will finalize this part of the video. So the wash now is dry. The last thing I will do is I will take a little bit of Sycorax bronze. This paint is in very bad shape and I will buy a new one tomorrow. And I will this paint is in a horrible shape. But I will apply a little bit here on the top and on the base here. Okay. The same on the other side. What we can do is we can make like a line or something like that here. And do the same here, something like that. And we can apply a little bit of this. Just to give a little bit of, and this should be enough, I think, for this part. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. So we'll leave it like that. Maybe we do some fine touch when everything is assembled again. But I will finalize this here, this part of the tutorial. This is finalizing part 4. That is the main body of the Razorwing. Here we have the work on the main body, all the freehand and the highlights on the black, and we also have the bottom part assembled.